Hello, I'm Denis Waitley. I've spent the past 30 years counseling winners in every field, from Apollo astronauts to Olympic champions, from Fortune 500 top executives to small business owners. All of the top achievers that I know who've become so uncommonly successful share common character traits of passion, focus, and determination. As we move through the first decade of the 21st century, there's one major trend, and that is the revelation that each of us must act self-employed from now on, realizing that our success will depend upon our own dedication, skills, and contacts, rather than our position, seniority, and rank in an organization. One mainstream industry where self-discipline and vision go hand in hand, and where the motto, "Help enough people help themselves, and success will follow," is a way of life instead of a slogan, is network marketing. Networking depends upon developing trusting relationships and then helping other people succeed. It's a business in which any individual can prosper if their desire is great enough to weather the early obstacles that we all face when charting a new course on our own. A solid role model to learn from is Kutschrea, one-star diamond director with USANA Health Sciences, who's taken his vision, focus, and passion for personal and financial freedom to new heights. Isn't it about time that you took charge of your future and discovered your own personal and financial freedom? You know the answer. And Kutschrea will help you go from want to can do.
Hi, my name is Kutschrea. I'm a one-star diamond with USANA Health Sciences. And I'd like to welcome you into my home tonight and where I do my business day in and day out. It's a great spot, isn't it? Well, one of the things we're going to share with you tonight is some of the concepts, some of the background, and some of the information that will give you the ability to look at USANA and see if it's something that you'd like to get involved with. I'd like to share with you my story as well as my wife's story. We've been in business, actually very successful in business now for over 20 years. And in that time, 15 years of it in traditional business, parts of that in the franchise development business. And through that process, we learned that having a business can really run your life. And so we came to a point that we'd cracked the code on how to make money, but we didn't crack the code on how to have a life. And so we went on a search for something where we could have time and money in a balance. And as we started to investigate and look at what the different strategies were, we came to one place. All roads led to network marketing. And I remember that day when we came to that realization that Elizabeth and I looked at each other and said, "Oh no, network marketing, we hate network marketing." And then we realized that maybe it was some of our exposure, maybe it was some of the people. And you just don't throw out an industry, just like if you have a bad meal at a restaurant, you don't stop eating at restaurants. So we started to put on our business thought patterns and started to rip it all apart and start to look for a company in this industry that would fit for what we wanted to do. And lo and behold, we were introduced to USANA. When we were first introduced to USANA, I was very skeptical. I had grown up with poor health. I had been on a nutrition program, thought I was doing really well. What better product could there be out there? Anyways, what we decided to do was test out the product, got myself, 3 other people on it. We're on it for a little over a month, and when we started to see some of the slight changes and the results that were happening, we were very intrigued, very surprised. And so what we decided to do was now tear the company apart and check out the marketing plan and the corporation. And when we finished that, I came back to my wife and I said, "Elizabeth, we're going to get involved. This is a 5-star opportunity. This is one of the most exciting businesses I've ever seen." And so we did that a little over 6 years ago, and we've never looked back. Then the other piece of it that was very impactful for us was the founder of USANA, Dr. Myron Wentz. He wasn't a promoter, he was a man who had a vision, who wanted to make a difference. A microbiologist who'd worked with human cells for decades. And from working with those cells, he was able to establish different combination of nutrients that would give him the best growth, the best resistance to disease, and the longest life. And from that, he took it and went from the diagnosis of disease to the prevention of disease, and that's how USANA got created. What I'd like to share with you now is the financial opportunity available to you in USANA. Before I start on that, I'd like to share with you about traditional multi-level marketing. Traditional multi-level marketing is based on levels, okay? And these levels usually start with your highest amount on your front level, okay? So usually you get paid 10%. So if you're coming into a traditional multi-level, okay, which in my mind and what I know about this industry now is better than being in traditional business. In traditional business, only one person can do really well. That's the owner-operator or the CEO of the company. Here, there's room for more. And I'm going to share with you about our binary system that even opens up that even vaster. So in a traditional multi-level marketing, let's say over a year that you brought 8 people in, okay? So take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we'll put the 8th person over here. And let's go back to saying that 10% is right there on that level, okay? And now, the other levels will probably be less. In fact, in most cases they are. So if you're going to put your people in, you're going to put them all in on your front line. So let's take a look at this. The one thing that all these 8 people have in common is you. There is no mechanism for teamwork or synergy. Now we take the USANA, okay, plan, which is a binary, and it is based on volume, okay? And so you come into USANA's binary, this is you, okay? And then we're going to bring in those same 8 people that come in over the next year. Now we're not showing you the people that they're bringing in as well. We're just showing you the template of 8 people coming in and not all the other people bringing people. So now we take a look at these 8 people, okay? And as you can see, it starts to look a lot different. And the reason for that is because this is based on volume, okay? And so no matter where the volume comes in, and where I bring these people in, that volume flows through everybody all the way up to me. So for example, the number 7 person that I brought in also is volume for the number 5 person, the number 3, the number 1, and myself. And on this side, the number 8 person is volume for number 6, 4, and 2, and volume for myself. There are no levels that we're dealing with, and we share in that volume. And what that does is that creates a mechanism for teamwork and synergy, and building bridges of trust for these people that are coming in. For example, take a look at number 1. They've got 3 people underneath of them, okay, from my efforts. Number 3 person's got 2 people underneath of them from my efforts, and number 5 person's got 1 person underneath them, okay? And that works throughout this whole marketing plan. And that's what the binary has created so that a lot of us can participate into the income. What I want to share with you now, okay, is something that a lot of us are starting to learn about. We never really were taught about compounding, what I call the power of 2, in school for most of us. And so if we can understand this, then it will give us an understanding of why this opportunity is so awesome for so many of us. Okay? But before I get into the power of 2 and compounding, I want to share with you something that I learned from a very wise financial advisor. I used to be in the financial advising business. And a gentleman by the name of Paul Rockwell taught me about the concept of man and woman at work, or both, woman and man at work. These days, a lot of us are in that position, or a lot of people are in that position. And money at work. So when you have man and woman at work, what you've got is you've got dollars coming in, pay the mortgage, pay for your car payments, a little bit of holidays, and hopefully you have a little bit of money aside and you put that into a mutual fund. And you have that working and compounding year after year after year. Well, the thing for us baby boomers is that for us to create the kind of financial independence that we want, we have to start when we're in our 20s. And most of us at that time never even thought about that. In fact, a lot of us are thinking about it now. In North America, I believe right now, a baby boomer is turning 55 every 7 to 8 seconds. Okay? That's the front end of the baby boomers. And that means we don't have a lot of time left to create our financial independence. Now, when we're working for somebody else, man or woman at work or both, It's very challenging to create financial independence. We have to have money at work, and we have to put that aside into a compounding element. Well, it takes 35 to 45 years in a mutual fund to create the kind of income to create the financial independence. And guess what? Third period or fourth quarter is over. Time is up for the baby boomers. In fact, I think that this volatility we're seeing in the markets is from a lot of baby boomers trying to find a faster way to do it. But compounding takes time. So I want to share this with you. And I'm going to share with you later on how you combine this money compounding with another element that we have that creates such exciting opportunity. Okay? So I call this compounding the power of two. Okay? Or sometimes we have a little bit of fun with it and we call it the Dublin principle because it doubles all the time. And so in this concept of the power of two, let's say that we have two people that we bring into USANA. Now in USANA, you qualify by consuming and distributing product and finding two others to do the same. So in this example, I'm going to have two people, okay, and then we're going to teach them to find two people to do the same, and so on, and so on, and so on. So the first duplication is you've started with two people, now you're going to teach them to do the same. You're not going to go out and find a bunch of people yourself, you're going to coach, teach, and be an example, and distribute these products through that process. So you have two people, and now if you find two people who find two people, you now have four people, okay? And now if you have those four people who find two people, you have 8 people. And now you can start to see why we call this the Dublin principle. 2, 4, 8, 8 people who find 2 people. So you can start to see this is about everybody doing a little bit. 16 people who find 2 people is 32. 32 people who find 2 people is 64. Okay? And now I'm just going to draw a line right here. Because you see, one of the most misconceived processes that happen with the power of 2, with what some people call the 8th miracle of the world, compounding, is that you have to have a foundation first. For example, if you take a look at our home here, this was part of a dream. And first, the property had to be found, and that took a couple years. Then there was some rock that had to be blasted. And once they got through that, then they had to dig all the foundation into place, put all those pieces in. And once the foundation was done, which took 3 or 4 years, the rest of the building went up in months. So once that foundation was here, then the rest of it really built from that. Well, with compounding, it gets its power and velocity once a foundation is built. And so what happens, a lot of times people get involved in networking, or USANA, which USANA is part of, and they get involved and they're used to trading time for dollars and they're putting their time in and not a lot's happening and they're going, geez, I'm putting all these hours in, I'm not getting big paychecks, and they don't understand that they've got to build the foundation first. And once you build that foundation, the power and velocity unleashes itself and the exact opposite happens. Now you're going along, you're not putting as many hours in, and you're getting a lot more pay than you've ever had before in your own business. So let's take a look at the next 6 duplications. So we've got 6 now. Now we're going to have 6 more duplications. We're going to do the identical same strategy. Everybody doing a little bit. 64 people, finding 2 people will give you 128. 128 people, finding 2 people will give you 256. 256 people, finding 2 people is 512. 512 finding 2 people is 1,024. 1,024 finding 2 people is 2,048. And 2,048 finding 2 people is 4,096. Isn't that interesting? Now, these numbers could only work this way if the foundation was in place. Okay? And so we've got 6 duplications here. We have the foundation, and then the next 6 duplications. And that's why some people think that networking is too good to be true, or that maybe the one guy makes all the money at the top, because we don't really understand this compounding concept. And when you get this concept, you really get to see the big picture of this, then you can realize how we can come together and redirectionalize our consumption and our product coming in and take it from corporations and make our own little corporations and everybody doing a little bit, and we can create financial independence for a lot of us. And so that's one part of this concept and this Very powerful strategy. I'm going to share with you after my next module the other part and bring those two together. And when you see those two together, then you'll understand why a lot of us ordinary people can get extraordinary results. So now I've showed you some big numbers, and when you take a look at this template is mathematically pure. It's science. It works this way. Now when you bring people into it, it's going to change a little bit. Some people bring 2 people in, some people bring 4 people in, some people bring 8 people in. The numbers are going to change. The geometrical progression is the same throughout this whole process, okay? Now, you're seeing some big numbers here. Do we need those big numbers to create income in USANA? No, and that's the part I want to share with you now. So, if you get this power, this Dublin principle, then let's take a look at how that relates to our USANA business, okay? So USANA is based on generating 100 sales points. There is a lot of people consuming and distributing 100 points of product, and some people are up to 200 points. We'll just use on this example 100 points, okay? It is paid weekly, and it's based on a 4-week cycle, okay? And so what I want to start with here is showing you the payout plan for it. We have a left side, we have a right side, okay, and we have the payout, okay? And so this is based on points, as I can show you, is 100 points. Now it is based on US currency, because this company is going all around the world, but it has to have a foundation, it has to have one currency to be based on. Now we can get paid on different currencies in different countries, but it's all based on this, and the points are based on that currency, on that US amount. So what I want to show you first is how many points it takes to start creating income. 250 points on the left, 250 points on the right will pay out a $40 US check. Okay? Then when you have 500 points on the left and 500 points on the right, you now would get paid out a $100 US check. Now what I want to share with you at this point is that when you reach this level, we call it Believer, that is the smallest check that you can earn in USANA from there on in. It's $100 US. And the other thing about it is that if you take these two sides, add them together and take 10%, from here on in, you will get the amount that you'll be paid out. So 500 plus 500 gives you 1,000. 10% of that is $100. Then when you have the next amount of payout is 1,000 and 1,000 points, will pay you out $200. 2,000 and 2,000 will pay out 400. So you can see 2,000 plus 2,000 is 4,000, 10%. 3,000 and 3,000, 600. 4,000 and 4,000, 800. 5,000 and 5,000 will pay out $1,000 and can pay out as often as per week. That is the maximum amount that you can be paid out per week. And for those of you that are looking at this for the first time, that's one of the most exciting aspects of this. Because there's a maximum amount that can be paid out, that allows money in the system for other people to earn. And so a lot of us can earn with this. So let's go back and share with you. This is you. You come in and you qualify a business center. You have a left side. You have a right side. And so one of the things I want to share with you is how many people generating 100 points of volume will it take to get your product paid for? How many people generating 100 points volume will it take to earn $1,000 US every 4 weeks? And how many people generating volume will it take to earn $1,000 US a week? So let's take a look at, first off, what it'll take to get your product paid for. And we're going to go back to that original drawing that I had, except for one thing, is that, like I just shared with you, it's about everybody doing a little bit. So you've got 8 people here, but you may have found 1 or 2 of those people, and then they found 1 person, and then that person found 1 person, and so out of these 8 people, you may have found only 1 or 2 of them. Now, if these people want to participate in the compensation plan, they have to generate 100 points of volume. So let's say that this person's at 100, this person's at 100, this person's at 100, this person's at 100. And this person's at 100, 100, 100, and 100. So what we have is a total of, on the left side, 400, and on the right side, 400. Now, between these four people, between relatives and new people who want to try some of the product or get on the product, there's usually at least another 100 points coming in. So we could add 100 more onto there. We've got a total of 500 aside, okay? And at 500 aside, you get a $100 check coming back. You are purchasing $100. It's a little bit more than that with shipping and tax. And so between 8 and 10 people is what it takes for you to get your product paid for. And if everybody's doing a little bit, then everybody's finding 1 or 2 of those people. Okay? So now let's take a look at what does it take for you to be able to earn $1,000 every 4 weeks. How many people does it take? Well, $1,000 means 5,000 on the left, 5,000 on the right. 5,000 divided by 100 points, okay, will give you 50. So if you have 50 people on your left and 50 people on your right, okay, all generating 100 points, then what you'd have is 5,000, 5,000, and you would be earning $1,000 every 4 weeks. Now, let's take a look at if you want to earn $1,000 every single week. And we also have leadership bonus that can be added to that as well. 5,000 divided by 100 points gives you 50 people. We've got that for the first week. So in the next week, we'd also have to have 50 people on the left, 50 people on the right. Third week, we'd have to have 50 people on the left, 50 people on the right. And the fourth week, 50 people on the left, 50 people on the right. For a total of 200 people on the left, 200 people on the right. Now, understand this is on a 4-week cycle. So if you have 50 people on the left and 50 people on the right, that's 100 people. But when you fill in 1 week, and then you fill in a second week, and then you fill in a third week, and then you fill in a fourth week, this is the most exciting part about this. Because of the consumption, because it's on a 4-week cycle, you fill in a whole year. And when you realize how powerful that is and how exciting that is for the amount of people you've got involved, then you start to see how we can start to create a lot of incomes in our communities. Now, that's based on 100 points. What happens if all of your people in your organization are on 200 points? We have a lot of people generating 200 points in volume every 4 weeks. If you had that, then this would be cut down to 100 people on the left, 100 people on the right, for a total of 200 people. So it takes between 200 to 400 people consuming and distributing product to be able to create $1,000 a week US, plus there is a leadership bonus process, which I'm not going to share with you tonight, but when you add that to it, it increases your income even more. So there you have it. It takes 8 to 10 people to develop, to get your product paid for. It takes between 50 and 100 people to earn $1,000 US every 4 weeks. And it takes between 200 and 400 people to create financial independence. So that's a very exciting element. Now what I want to do is share with you the last module. And to me, one of the most exciting modules. And this is the one that I was sharing with you, combined with the compounding of people and dollars coming in, where you have money at work, makes this opportunity so powerful so that we can create what takes between 35 and 45 years in a mutual fund and create it in 1 to 5 years. And guess what? Us baby boomers have that kind of time. The baby boomers are driving 1/3 of all the marketplaces. We've driven everything from diapers to real estate. The biggest wave that we're going to drive is the wellness wave. And here's a strategy where we can come together and take this compounding, this 8th miracle of the world, and be able to combine it with traditional compounding and find solutions for all of us. Okay? And the name of this module is It's About Time. And I've had a number of people say, yeah, it is about time I started to think about being an entrepreneur and take charge of my own financial outcome and my financial independence. So let's take a look at how this works, okay? Here you are, okay? And let's say that everything that you've seen up until now makes sense to you. And so this is something that you would get involved in. And so if you're going to get involved in it, would it be fair to say that you could put 10 hours a week into it? And what we found is most people have said, yes, I could put 10 hours a week into it. So let's mark that down, 10 hours, okay? So now you've just set up your company and you've ordered your products, you're going to put 10 hours a week into it. And so in your company, hours worked, well, are 10 hours. And you are working 10 hours of it, okay? So now you're going to share this with other people who want to consume and distribute the product, and of course they're going to duplicate you. So the number one person that you bring in, okay, is going to put 10 hours in. And the number two person that you bring in is going to put 10 hours in. Okay? So now what you have is 10, 20, 30 hours. Your company has being worked in it, 30 hours. And you are working 10 of it. Okay? And now you're going to teach those two people to duplicate what you've done. And so they're going to find their number one and two person, 1, 2, and your number two person is going to find their 1 and 2 person. Okay? And they're all going to duplicate and put their 10 hours a week in. So now we have 40 hours plus 30 hours has 70 hours being worked in your corporation. And you're working 10 hours of it. Okay? Are you starting to see what's starting to unfold here? In 2 duplications, you already have 70 hours being worked. You're working 10 hours of it. Okay? Then we go and we have them duplicate down to their number 1 person and their number 2 person, and their number 2 person down to their number 1 and 2, and then this person down to their 1 and 2, and their person down to their 1 and 2. Okay? And so we have 8 people here, all at 10 hours. So that's 80 hours, plus the 70 hours gives you 150 hours being worked in your company, and you're working 10 hours of that. Now think about that, 150 hours. That's 4 full-time employees. Employees in this day and age work 36 hours a week. 4 times 36 gives you 144. You've got 150 hours a week being worked. You're working 10 of it. Or another way to think about it, if you took 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, you would get 164 hours. We're very close to that, night and day. But could we work while we're sleeping? No, we couldn't. Okay? So this is pretty exciting to understand that now we have the compounding of time plus that other compounding of money at work. Okay? And you combine those together, and that's why we've been able to develop in USANA opportunity so many people in 1 to 5 years to create financial independence. Okay? Now, that's really exciting for you, right? But if you want residual income, if you want to be able to travel the world or live some of your dreams, then it's got to work for the other people, doesn't it? I mean, that's great, it works for you, but it's got to be working for the other people. And that's the part that got me so excited when I checked out USANA, because I could see it working for other people. This is a true free enterprise opportunity. Now, I haven't got time to go into it, and the person that's sharing that video with you today can do that for you. But one of the things I want to tell you about is that there are a lot of people in my organization that are making a lot more money than the people that brought them in or people that came in before them. And so it really, when you understand that, you get to see that it is a true free enterprise. So getting back to what I was talking about, does it work for somebody else? Well, let's take a look at your number 1 person that you brought in, and let's put a circle around them. And look at what they've got. They've got 70 hours being worked. At the same time that you got 150 in your organization, they've got 70, and they're working 10 of it. The number 2 person that you brought in has got 70 hours working in their organization, and they're working 10 of it. What about their number 1 and 2 person? Their number 1 person that they brought in's got 30 hours being worked, and they're working 10 of it. And their number 2 person's got 30 hours being worked, and they're working 10 of it. This person's number 1 person's got 30 hours being worked in it, and they're working 10 of it. And the final person's got 30 hours being worked, and they're working 10 of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of you in 3 duplications. It's not like we're waiting a long time for this to be working. And so when you understand that concept and you combine it with the other, then you can see why this is such an exciting opportunity. So what I'd like to ask you those of you that are watching this, what you have to think about for yourself at this stage right now, are you a number 1 person, are you a number 2 person, or are you a number 3 person? Number 1 person has been able to get enough of this and is in relationship with the person that brought them here and says, I want to get going. Number 2 person says, I need more information. A lot of people will find that they're in that category. You may have to watch this tape a couple times. You're just being first exposed to it. That's normal. Go for it. And then the third person is thanks, but no thanks. And for you, I would really encourage you, if you understand the kind of pollution that we have in our world, to try these products out. So I want to thank you so much for inviting me into your home, and I wish you the best of success in the new millennium. Bye for now.